still hugging the golden slime, which her older brother Valen had told her was their aunt's slime, Irina didn't know it was actually an adult male. The legendary tyrannical Grand Duke had been casually tossed to her as a gift. Seeing his sister's infatuated expression, Valen's eyes darkened. What's wrong? Don't you like the gift I gave you? Irina cursed him internally 80,000 times. What kind of brother gives a monster as a gift? But Valen's gaze brooked no refusal. The girl could only compromise and try to appease him. Thank you, brother. I really love it. The man left satisfied, leaving the girl feeling utterly dejected. She couldn't stand even one more day of this transmigrated life. Despite being the youngest daughter of the Duke, she was forced to live in a storage room. Her father was a scumbag. The villain, in his pursuit of power, not only treated Irina as a bargaining chip for a marriage alliance with the Grand Duke, intending to squeeze out all her value, but also planned to sacrifice his daughter to a demon. The tragic ending made her increasingly frustrated. Irina vented her frustration by squeezing the slime in her hand, but found herself strangely addicted to the sensation. Its springy, soft texture was irresistible. After calming down, she started to think of a plan. First, she had to survive until her marriage to the Grand Duke. No kicking the bucket halfway through. Then, acquire a few trillion gold coins and find a way to convince the Grand Duke to divorce her. Then, find a cute guy to fall in love with. Kissing, cuddling, and being lifted up every day. Just thinking about it made her feel giddy. Hearing Irina's bold words, the slime shyly struggled and broke free from the girl's grasp, jumping off the bed. It slithered towards the underside of the bed. Whoa, you're actually alive. Seeing the girl's pupils darken, the slime couldn't help but blush all over. Could it be because of what I just said about falling in love and kissing? The slime shyly stamped its pseudopods. Irina gently extended her hand. Little guy, come out. I won't say it anymore. It obediently crawled onto her hand. I've never heard of a slime developing consciousness, and this little guy can understand me. But the girl felt more surprised than anything. She wouldn't be so lonely anymore. Suddenly, the door opened. A maid told her to hurry to the dining hall. Dinner was about to be served. She discreetly tucked the slime into her bag. When she arrived, the maids had already almost finished eating. The housekeeper, Rosa, scolded Irina for being late, clearly looking for a fight. Irina calmly sat at the table and picked up her chopsticks, preparing to eat. Rosa slapped her hand away. I told you to eat elegantly. You still haven't learned after all this time. She then snatched the food away. A future Duchess, you must maintain your figure. Otherwise, the Grand Duke will dislike you. Irina gritted her teeth, suppressing her anger. Rosa dared to be so brazen because of the support of her insane father. He even let his own daughter stay and enjoy a feast solely to humiliate her. If she argued with his daughter, Rosa would probably use it as an excuse to beat her. But the slime had had enough. It shot straight up into the air, aiming for the chubby girl. With a crow-like dive bomb, it went straight for her face. Irina was shocked for what felt like millennia. She wasn't shocked that the slime defended her, but that the little guy had grown eyes, a nose, and a mouth. The slime babbled. No one bullies my master. No way. Then it looked at Irina expectantly. I was great, right? Master, praise me. The girl chuckled. Her previous frustration was greatly soothed by the little guy. The chubby girl on the floor woke up. The slime couldn't be discovered. Irina lifted a plate, ready to knock her unconscious. However, the chubby girl didn't remember what had just happened. Thankfully, they had narrowly avoided disaster. Irina figured the slime must have the ability to erase memories. It seemed she had stumbled upon a real treasure. I'll call you Dada from now on. Hearing that it had a name, the slime happily rolled around on Irina's hand. But Irina hadn't eaten anything in 90,000 seconds. She was so hungry, she collapsed face first onto her pillow. It was all the fault of those jerks who wouldn't give her any food. They even locked her up. She could only rely on sleep to get through it. Dada stealthily slipped away. Just 2.5 minutes later, he brought Irina a plate of crawfish. Spicy crawfish at that. Master's hungry. Eat, eat. You're my savior, Dada. I'm so grateful. Love you, Manhwa. Irina devoured the hundreds of crawfish, leaving only an empty plate. She hugged Dada tightly, showering him with affection. The slime also enjoyed seeing his master full and satisfied from the spicy food. Dada was so happy. Then he hopped away again. Wait for me, master, 2 minutes. In no time, he returned with a cup of milk tea. Irina was overjoyed. That I love you to death, Dada. If you could turn into a handsome guy, I'd definitely be with you forever. Irina's words brought a radiant smile to Dada's face. He took her words seriously. So he climbed onto a chair, then struggled onto the table and pulled out a ballpoint pen. Verbal agreements aren't enough. Write it down. Irina was stunned by his intelligence. This is much better than any ragdoll or British shorthair. So she found an opportunity to sneak off to the library. She wanted to find some books about slimes to take back and read. Seeing Irina enter, the librarian wore a look of terror. Irina knew she was definitely going to send a WeChat message to Rosa to tattle, so she had to hurry. The book was located near the ceiling. Even if she jumped, she couldn't reach it. But just then, Valen appeared. I knew I felt a chill down my spine. His brother's questioning tone made Irina inexplicably nervous. She stammered out the truth. Seeing that Irina liked the slime windbreaker he had given her, Valen's face lit up with joy. So his little sister liked things that weren't bloodthirsty. Irina couldn't understand her brother's train of thought at all. Suddenly, Valen's face turned cold again. That I gave you so many diamond jewels. Why did you throw them away? Then it dawned on her. No wonder he kept giving her magical beasts. He was trying to figure out his sister's hobbies. And Rosa had pocketed all those jewels. Seeing this, she instantly turned on her acting skills, claiming to have no knowledge of the jewels. Valen was instantly furious. Even if Rosa is father's confidant, she can't steal from my sister. He was about to go find the maid. Brother, could you please get the book down for me first? That word, brother, made Valen freeze. He turned his head, a strange look on his face. Say brother again. Irina had a bad feeling. This guy's temper was stranger than she imagined. She decided to apologize first to save her skin. Unexpectedly, Valen gathered all the books on slimes and carried them to Irina's bedroom. Irina finally understood. This madman didn't seem to be bad to his sister. In that case, all she had to do was keep him happy. Irina called him brother repeatedly, and Valen, feeling very pleased, softened his gaze. But suddenly, Rosa's maid burst in. You little brat, get out here. However, she ran right into the young master himself. Barging into my sister's room without knocking and calling her a little brat. Do you want me to chop you up and feed you to the magical beasts? The maid trembled in fear. She quickly explained, it was Lady Rosa who told me to do it. Then take me to Rosa right this instant. Irina was surprised. She hadn't expected Valen to stand up for her. It would be best to lock Rosa up and starve her for a few meals. Then she started studying the books about slimes. It was said that some top-level magical beasts, in their weakest state, would transform into slimes. She thought Dada was probably a top-level magical beast in disguise. I just don't know what your true identity is. Could you be a husky? She considered a million possibilities, but it never occurred to her that Dada was human. A sudden knock startled her. She quickly threw Dada under the bed. Valen dragged Rosa into Irina's room. What do you want me to do with this stony jewelry? Rosa, of course, denies everything. She even said Valen was provoking her. Your Grace, how dare you use my father against me? I'm sorry, the Duke isn't here. I am the head of this family. She's making me feel like she's disrespecting me. Only Irina knows. Rosa is more than just disrespectful. Her goal is to push her own daughter, that little chubby girl, into the position of Duchess. Not only does she disregard me, the Duke's wife, but she also never cared about the family heir, young Master Valen. That slap didn't diminish her arrogance. She's still spouting threats. Valen dragged her out. He's going to deal with this his own way for his silly little sister, even if it's just for that heartfelt brother. After Valen left, Irina was overjoyed. Finally, a chance to hold her head high. Having a brother is great. Dada, however, wasn't happy that I can do anything your brother can do. Just give the order, master, and I can take care of Rosa for you. Oh, my little guy, I have to thank you properly. Come here, give big sister a hug. Thank you, Dada, for being with me in such a dangerous world, and the way you protected me. Felt even more handsome than the Grand Duke I'm supposed to marry someday. Dada only heard the word marry. He asked Irina, puzzled. Marriage is like a level up for lovers, right? Even closer than lovers. Dada's eyes suddenly lit up with excitement. He started fantasizing about marrying Irina. The more he thought about it, the more excited he became. Suddenly, he jumped off the bed. As Irina watched in shock, he leaped out the window. Irina panicked. She didn't know what Dada was doing. The Duke's estate was full of prejudiced people below. If they caught Dada, he'd be done for. Dada scrambled through the bushes. Irina's heart was in her throat. She didn't know Dada was a warrior charging for love. He mistakenly thought she wanted to marry him. So, he braved great danger just to bring her a bouquet of flowers. Although it wasn't as elegantly wrapped as a florist bouquet, it was all he could do. Irina was deeply touched. She never expected the one who treated her best would be a monster. His sincere expression made her unwilling to hurt him. Irina patiently explained, I can't marry you. As a tool for a political marriage, my fiancé is that fierce, cruel Grand Duke, the strongest person in the entire story. Little Dada, can you defeat such a powerful rival? He felt like the sky was falling. So this was what it felt like to be rejected, but only for a moment. Dada regained his confidence that I don't care if he's a Grand Duke. If he dares to steal my master, I'll beat him to a pulp. Irina genuinely admired his courage. Suddenly, she felt like teasing him. So, little Dada, when are we getting married? And you know, marriage requires a vow. Her words startled him. Oh no, I'm so shy. Maybe I should take a driving test to calm down. Irina pretended to close her eyes. She knew he would run away, but Dada had already puckered his lips. Before Irina realized what was happening, he kissed her. The air was filled with the scent of love. But in an instant, Dada overheated. He ran for cover under the bed. Oh no, my first kiss is gone. Irina was speechless. Shouldn't I be the one freaking out? This little guy is playing coy after getting the advantage. How are you going to propose to me if you're this easily flustered? You need to be a thick-skinned slime, you know? Meanwhile, in the basement, Rosa, having been beaten by Valen, was still defiant that don't think you can protect Irina. Just wait until the Duke returns. I'll make her life even more miserable. As soon as that little wretch disappears, my precious daughter will become the Duchess. Thanks to Valen's invitation the next day, Irina was finally able to leave her small room. Being a lady-in-waiting, but treated like a puppet, even in a world of absurdity, this kind of father is incredibly absurd. Right, totally absurd. Irina pushed Dada in her pocket. Quiet now. After all, Dada's secrets couldn't be revealed to her brother. Valen's reason for letting Irina out wasn't just to give her some fresh air. He told her that their father was returning home on tomorrow's flight, and he was bringing the K-line flower with him. Irina immediately recalled the plot point from the original story. The K-line flower is highly poisonous. While it doesn't kill instantly, it inflicts severe and continuous suffering. The Duke will make me drink it every day until petal-shaped marks appear on my wrists. By then, I'll be a walking K-line flower. After I marry the Grand Duke, the poison will naturally take effect. That way, he'll die without anyone knowing the truth. In the Duke's eyes, his own daughter is just a tool in his quest for the throne. Luckily, I'm a transmigrator. The antidote to the K-line poison is in the forest surrounding the Grand Duke's estate. More importantly, as long as I take the antidote when the petals appear, not only will I fully recover, but I'll also awaken a divine power to purify all things. Then I'll finally be able to rise in this world. Irina was looking forward to it, hoping that day would come soon. However, Valen was stunned. Irina, aren't you scared? He felt so sorry for his naive little sister. He told her seriously, listen carefully. The Duke will definitely make one of us take it. If we refuse, we'll both be killed for sure. When the time comes, don't say a word. I'll take the K-line poison. I want you to live. Do you understand, little sister? Irina was speechless. Seriously, brother, don't be crazy. Suddenly, a servant found them. It's time. The lady-in-waiting needs to return. Valen glared at him fiercely. You Duke's dogs. I'll get rid of all of you sooner or later. Then he took Irina's hand. I'll walk you back. Beneath his weathered and melancholic features, Irina saw a kind of suicidal resolve. This so-called brother was truly unexpected. Even more unexpected was that Dada had turned green. He was even angrily waving his pseudopods. Irina was worried. Dada, are you sick? It turned out Dada had overheard her conversation with Valen. He was worried that Irina would be poisoned and die. Irina gently stroked his head. It's okay. Don't be afraid. Unexpectedly, he started to cry. Doesn't want to leave, master. Touched, Irina kissed Dada. Thank you. Everything will be all right, I promise. Suddenly, hurried footsteps approached. Just as Irina hid Dada under the bed, the chubby girl burst in. She unleashed a torrent of verbal abuse at Irina. She believed her mother's confinement was Irina's fault. You framed my mother for stealing jewelry. But Irina was no longer her former timid self. I'm done talking to you, horseface. Heaven sees what people do. Come at me if you're so tough. The chubby girl gritted her teeth, but without her mother's permission, she couldn't actually lay a hand on Irina. She could only resort to hysterical threats. You little brat, just you wait. From now on, I'll curse you every single day. Oh, thank you so much. You go, girl. The chubby girl left, fuming, unaware of the change in the girl's eyes. Behind her, I'll deal with all of you eventually. But for now, she still had to be careful. The Duke had returned. Dada, you have to stay hidden. The next day, at the dining table, the family was gathered together, a rare occurrence. outwardly appearing respectable, Duke Sodis was inwardly cold-blooded and cruel. In his eyes, his children were merely tools to be used. He ordered Valen to go to the Raven Forest the next day. It was a hellish place, overrun with monsters. Irina knew the Duke's purpose, to obtain the forbidden knowledge of summoning demons. He was beyond redemption, completely blinded by his ambition for the throne. Valen had no power to resist. The Duke had a playful look on his face. He believed everyone should obey him. Then, pointing at Irina, he took out the refined kaolin flower. Now is the time to prove your worth. Irina felt ecstatic, but on the surface, she could only pretend to be clueless. Before she could speak, Valen abruptly stood up. His pleading tone held a sliver of hope for his sister's survival. But the Duke's response was cold. How dare you slam the table? It seems my lessons haven't been enough. If you dare utter another word, I will personally destroy the thing you cherish most. Valen clenched his fists, his frustration evident. The Duke's threat forced Valen to concede. His downcast expression conveyed his guilt towards his little sister, as if apologizing, I still couldn't protect you. Irina realized the Duke must have something to control Valen. The kaolin poison was poured into the wine glass. Drinking it would transform her into a beautiful flower. Irina suppressed her inner joy, but the suspicious Duke noticed something amiss. You seem rather eager. Irina reacted quickly. This is my first time drinking alcohol, and shouldn't I obey father's words unconditionally? She quickly drank it all, unaware that the Duke had grown suspicious of her. Compared to her brother's anger, Rosa was overjoyed. Valen is leaving tomorrow. No one will be able to protect Irina anymore. Just you wait, my daughter. That maid's position will be yours soon enough. The side effects of the kaolin flower began to take hold. Irina's face was filled with discomfort. She didn't know that Rosa's revenge had already begun. The maid seems unwell. It looks like you need a good rest. Rosa shoved Irina into a room. Skipping a couple of meals should ease the pain. Good luck, maid. The door was locked. Irina stood up with difficulty, collapsing wearily onto the bed. The side effects of the kaolin flower were intense, but she knew she had to endure. Dada lay by the bed, full of distress, offering comfort only through closeness. Irina urged Dada to stay hidden. She closed her eyes in pain. Then, Dada's size began to change. When Irina groggily opened her eyes, the wooden bed felt as soft as cotton. Holding Master will make her feel better. Perhaps due to Dada's magic, Irina felt less pained at your amazing little guy. Praised by Irina, Dada was overjoyed. As long as Master is happy, Dada is happy. Irina embraced Dada affectionately. Thank you for being with me during this difficult time. Looking at Dada's innocent face, Irina became worried. Knowing the Duke's personality, anything he liked, he would make disappear. She prayed Dada wouldn't be discovered. She seriously told Dada, if you encounter danger, you must flee to the north, understand? Dada didn't understand. I won't run away. I must protect Master. Irina looked at Dada helplessly. Some things are beyond our control. She knew Dada would leave her one day. Since that was the case, she would cherish their time together now. She snuggled close to Dada, who also enjoyed the affection. Meanwhile, in the Duke's office, he listened to his subordinate's report. Grand Duke Rutherley has been missing for a long time. He's probably in hiding. He vanished right after inheriting the title. He's either mentally unstable or physically ill, perhaps injured. Keep an eye on him. Eliminate him if the opportunity arises. He then turned to Valen. Tomorrow night, you depart for Raven Forest. He gave Valen a week to retrieve the demon shard. If you succeed, I might consider giving you this antidote to the kaolin flower. This was his method of controlling Valen. He knew his son cared deeply for his little sister. The Duke's hunger for the throne reminded Valen of his mother, a man who could even use his own wife as a tool. Valen's hatred grew without bounds, but he had to obey his orders. Only then could his little sister live. You can leave now. What a fool. Just like your stupid mother. The subordinate's next words made the man uneasy. Miss Irina has been frequenting the library lately, reading many books unrelated to etiquette. The Duke's face turned cold. She's developing a thirst for other knowledge. A timid, cowardly girl. It won't do for her to have her own opinions. He had to keep Irina firmly under his control, so that she won't interfere with my plans. A tool should act like a tool. He ordered Rosa, lock Irina's door tonight. He would use the cruelest methods to break Irina's spirit, to make her crumble in despair. Rosa was thrilled inwardly. I'll make sure to carry out this task perfectly. Meanwhile, the sleeping girl was completely unaware of all this. She had a very strange dream. It was the moment the original female lead met the Grand Duke the moment their love blossomed. But at this crucial moment, the girl opened her eyes. Damn it, why wake up at this moment? She didn't know the magic circle under her bed had already been activated. A monster suddenly appeared behind her. After seeing its face, Irina was terrified. She knew she was still dreaming and hadn't woken up. The girl's neck was seized in a tight grip. She knew this creature was called a nightmare, used by the Duke to destroy her spirit. Even though it was a dream, the damage she suffered would carry over to reality. This magic was terrifying. Irina felt like she was suffocating. She closed her eyes in despair. The moment tears slipped down her cheeks, a dazzling light suddenly burst forth from behind her. She grasped the holy sword in her hand and fought against the nightmare. But the difference in size was too great. With a casual flick, the nightmare sent her, Dada, flying thousands of meters. Although she didn't know how Dada had entered her dream, the girl still used her last bit of strength to urge Dada to escape. She didn't want to see her only friend get hurt, but she underestimated the slime's resolve. Dada wanted to protect his master. Ugly freak, come duel with me. Even after being flung away countless times, Dada remained in front of his master, guarding her. His unwavering determination briefly activated his original power. The holy sword emitted a dazzling light. Magical power surged. The nightmare was finally destroyed. Irina stared blankly, her heart filled with gratitude. Dada fell down, exhausted, lying weakly in the girl's hand. Master, don't be afraid. Dada will protect you. With him by her side, the girl could finally sleep soundly. The next morning, as soon as she opened her eyes, she saw Dada restored to his usual vigor. The wound under his eye, inflicted by the nightmare. The girl trembled as she held him. I'm sorry, Dada. It's all my fault. Your tiny body has been wounded because of me. But he gripped her hand tightly. He didn't want to see his master blame herself. He believed it was all his fault. It's because I'm too weak. I couldn't protect Master. I'll work hard to become stronger. Irina couldn't hold back any longer. She choked back sobs as she hugged Dada. Silly, don't apologize. You look so cool saving me in my dream. And you're the strongest slime in my heart. There's no one else like you. Feeling Irina's praise and her heartbeat, Dada blushed crimson with shyness. Dada loves cuddling with Master. Dada loves Master. Meanwhile, the Duke's suspicions deepened. The nightmare was destroyed much earlier than anticipated. Even though I summoned the lowest level nightmare, and her spirit doesn't seem to be affected. Someone must be helping her. Keep a close watch on Irina's every move. Find the person helping her and eliminate them. But there's another possibility. She's awakened her divine power, just like her mother. The reason he married Irina and Valen's mother. He was completely focused on her divine lineage, wanting a child with divine power. It's a shame that Valen is useless. He even thought that Valen's lack of awakened divine power was his wife's fault. A woman of divine lineage, his wife, was treated like a commoner. Her parents were framed by the Duke, and even she didn't escape his cruelty, all because of his madness. Meanwhile, Irina was practicing her embroidery. She was forced to study every day. Rosa was assigned to watch her. She quietly asked Irina, "Who were you talking to last night?" The girl was startled. Dada nervously clung to the pillar, but Irina quickly calmed down, realizing Rosa was trying to trick her. Rosa continued to threaten her. "Don't let me catch your slime, or you'll be sorry when a young master leaves tomorrow." Coincidentally, Valen overheard this from outside the door. He pushed open the door with a grim expression. Rosa's eyes rolled back in fear. She quickly apologized, saying she was just joking. She didn't want to be beaten senselessly like her mother. Valen told her to get out. Irina could finally have some peace. He said goodbye to her, telling her he was leaving tonight. He estimated he wouldn't be back for a week. Compared to the uncertainty of his own journey, he was more worried about his sister being bullied. Irina knew this. Her eyes softened. A brother willing to die for her. Why should she be so guarded? His caring farewell words held a trace of their mother's gentleness. Valen smiled happily. In this terrifying family, his only concern was his little sister. He leaned closer to the embroidery. Upon learning it was a gift, Valen felt a surge of anticipation. "It's for me, isn't it?" However, Irina happily declared, "It's for Dada, the slime you gave me." Valen felt incredibly awkward. "I'm not even as good as a slime." Irina placed the embroidered cover on Dada. Seeing Valen get up to leave, sensing his disappointment, Irina suddenly understood. She remembered a custom from her previous life, giving a knight a handkerchief before he went to battle, a symbol of good luck. She quickly called out to him and took out a rusty handkerchief. "Brother, this is for you. Please be safe. Protect yourself." Receiving his sister's gift finally lifted Valen's spirits. Taking the opportunity, Irina asked him where he found Dada. Learning it was in the Shuejiang region, Irina grew more and more uneasy. That place was as dangerous as the Raven Forest. How could Dada survive in such a place? Seeing Irina's curiosity about the slime, Valen offered. Why don't you let me take care of this little guy? I'll interrogate him and get all his secrets out of him. Dada, however, showed no fear, his eyes full of defiance. Irina protectively shielded him. You can't hurt Dada, or I won't talk to you anymore. The doting Valen quickly gave in. You have monster class this afternoon, and the teacher is a mage. If you take Dada with you, the teacher will likely sense him. If you leave him in your room, the maids might find him. It's safest if I look after him while I'm still here. Reluctantly, Dada left Irina's side, held in his brother-in-law's hand. Dada looked utterly miserable. Valen, however, recalled that when he found him, Dada was just a blob. Now he had eyes and a mouth. Even more surprising, he could understand him without a slime born with intelligence. Valen's hand wasn't warm at all. Dada jumped down, displeased. Although this little creature held a secret because of his presence, his formerly listless little sister's face had gradually regained its smile. So little guy, I don't care what you are. As long as you can make my sister happy, I'll protect you. He patiently helped Irina tidy her room. Picking up a slip of paper tucked away inside, he took a look. Marry me? What the heck? And this handwriting isn't my sister's. Could it be the slime wrote it? So smart. You guessed right. Dada's incredibly proud look shocked Valen for a good 10 seconds. More than the fact a monster could write. He was concerned about the content. What? You want to marry Irina? Oh, yes. You're so smart. Valen angrily stopped Dada. A monster actually wants to marry my sister? Absolutely not. You'd better give up that idea. Scolded by Valen, Dada was very indignant. My master and I are truly in love. You actually want to tear us apart? I'm going to beat you to death, you big jerk. Unexpectedly, Valen picked him up. If it weren't for fear of upsetting my sister, I'd teach you a lesson. But after calming down, he earnestly warned him, you and Irina are impossible. Because her fiancé has already been decided. Whether she likes it or not, she has to marry Duke Rutherly. Unless you can defeat that man. Dada hung his head dejectedly. I even get hurt fighting a nightmare. But after only 2.5 seconds, Dada's fighting spirit reignited. I will definitely become very, very strong. He took out a pen and wrote the word learn, wanting Valen to teach him how to become a better slime. His little expression conveyed determination. Valen told him he needed a mature and steady demeanor. You just look soft and squishy. You have no fighting power at all. He thought Dada would give up after hearing this. But the next second, he molded himself into the shape of a television. He thought this should be steady enough. For the first time, Valen was speechless. You're surprisingly persistent, but all of this is useless. Irina's fiancé not only has immense power, but also an IQ of 25,000. He's the Empire's swordsmanship genius, and his dancing and etiquette are top-notch. More importantly, only someone as powerful as him can save my sister from this family. Unexpectedly, Dada wasn't discouraged, but even more enthusiastic. Just then, Irina opened the door and came back. Seeing his master, Dada showed that angelic smile again, but the girl was quite frightened by his appearance. She thought Valen had bullied him, but her brother told her to be wary of this guy. A monster having feelings for you isn't a good thing. Irina felt her brother's concern. She secretly decided that when she had the power, she would definitely save her brother from the family. She told Dada to stop showing off and change back. After all, this embroidery was made for the soft, squishy, and adorable you. She gently dressed Dada in it. It's perfect. It fit perfectly. Just as Irina was about to say something, Dada's eyes landed on the meat buns and milk tea nearby. He opened his small mouth wide. The girl tried to stop him, but it was too late. She grabbed Dada. The book said slimes can't eat human food. She anxiously shook him, but was surprised to find that besides being shaken dizzy, Dada didn't seem to have any adverse reaction. This little guy is so strange. Not only can he enter my dreams and use magic, but he can also survive in such a dangerous place. Dada's limp form made the girl feel guilty. I'm sorry, Dada. I'll give you a foot rub. And this sentence happened to be overheard by Rosa. Early the next morning, she went to the library, but still couldn't find any useful information about slimes. Suddenly, Rosa appeared behind her. Unlike before, she didn't bully Irina this time. She even showed the politeness a young lady should have. But her gaze remained fixed on Irina. The hot pot is ready. Please, Your Highness, dine as soon as possible. This old woman must be crazy. Irina felt something was very wrong. She knew Rosa definitely had some ulterior motive. But the best way to conquer fear is to face it. So, she obediently went to the dining room. She hadn't eaten so satisfyingly in a long time. If only I had some milk tea, it would be even better. As soon as she finished speaking, Dada rushed out. But with a maid watching, Irina couldn't reveal anything. She could only silently pray that Dada wouldn't be discovered. And when Dada reached the kitchen, he overheard Rosa's plot. It turned out that Rosa's reason for giving Irina normal food was to keep her in the dining room. She handed her maid 2 magical devices, instructing her to secretly place them in Irina's room. 2 recording and interconnected magical devices. She wanted to use these to find something to use against Irina, because she thought the sound she heard last night definitely indicated a man was in Irina's room. And most likely, it was a tip-off from the Duke's mansion. As long as she found evidence, the Duke would surely reward her. Then her daughter could become a maid. Unfortunately, maids are just maids. They completely didn't understand how to use the magical devices. They foolishly pressed buttons at random, unaware that Dada, on the shelf, saw everything. He had already devised a plan to deal with Rosa. Early the next morning, while Irina was at the library, Dada went to her room. He took down a magical devices, but just as he was about to take out the magic orb, Irina unexpectedly returned. Seeing this, Rosa could only temporarily stop. That darn girl never cooperating. She took out the recording device. Sure enough, she heard Irina and Dada's conversation. She was about to go and report Irina, unaware that Dada had deliberately let her hear it. Seeing his goal achieved, Dada jumped onto the desk. He pulled out the magic orb hidden in the corner. Irina was startled. "Little Dada, you could spit out pearls?" After Dada's explanation, Irina learned that it was a recording magic orb. Dada wore a confident expression. With a light touch, a magic circle appeared. The displayed image was of the Duke's office. Rosa anxiously reported to the man that she had discovered the maid consorting with another man. She took out the magical device, indicating she had evidence. But the magical device seemed to malfunction, completely silent. The number you have dialed is not in service. Because on the other side, Dada had used magic to erase the recording in Rosa's hand. Irina was furious. It's too much, locking someone up and then spying with a magic orb. So that's why Rosa's attitude changed. But she was more relieved. Thankfully, Dada knew how to use magic. Otherwise, this would have been a disaster. Meanwhile, Rosa was trembling with fear. There was sound just now. The Duke was getting angry. Rosa not only interrupted him, but also couldn't produce anything satisfactory. She begged the Duke to believe her. "As your most loyal dog, I wouldn't do anything foolish." The man thought it made some sense. After all, he was also suspicious of Irina. "In that case, I'll give you one last chance. Right now, immediately, go and find out Irina's secret. Otherwise, you know what I'm capable of." Irina had a bad feeling. She quickly opened the window and threw out the magic orb. She told Dada not to make sound. Sure enough, in the next second, the maids rushed in. Irina was taken to the basement. She was locked up. She comforted Dada, telling him not to be angry, although reluctant. They had to separate now. "Remember what I told you. Go north. It's relatively safe there. Stay alive. Never come back." As Dada jumped down, Irina finally breathed a sigh of relief. Unexpectedly, the little guy hadn't left. He even brought the magic orb back. With that silly grin on his face, Irina really didn't want to scold him. But Dada had to leave. Otherwise, he'd be killed. The little guy was very reluctant. "I'm very strong. I can protect Master." The girl couldn't help but scold him loudly. "Please, Dada, listen to me this time, okay?" Tears welled up in her eyes, revealing her helplessness. "I'll make a pinky promise with you. We'll definitely see each other again in the future." Dada finally stopped being stubborn and even prepared to break the door lock. Unexpectedly, Dada instantly transformed into a universal key. But 2 maids were guarding the door outside. Irina thought about ambushing them. Although it was risky, the maids were very alert. Suddenly, the chubby girl came over and said, "The Duke has ordered me to bring her to him." Because her mother was Rosa, the maids didn't suspect anything. But Irina was shocked. The chubby girl was actually helping her. She let Irina out. He knows about the slime. He's known for a long time. You talk to the slime. You hug him and sleep with him. The chubby girl knows everything. But he didn't report Irina, because on the day the Duke returned, he saw a lot of unknown secrets. They told him Irina was drinking poison, that she would die sooner or later, and his mother's crazed look. He felt so sorry for Irina. That's why he helped her release the slime. "Hurry up. You only have 5 minutes." Irina ran towards the riverbank. "This is it, Dada. Just follow the river. A short separation is for a better reunion. So, Dada, absolutely, definitely don't come back." Unexpectedly, he turned his grief and anger into strength. "Master, wait for me. I'll definitely come back and save you after I become stronger." And just as Irina was returning, the chubby girl's screams rang out. The Duke found out that she had taken Irina away. Even after being beaten severely, the chubby girl didn't reveal anything about Irina. But she underestimated the Duke's brutality. "If I can't find evidence of Irina's secret meeting, then Rosa, you'll have to pay the price. Lock Rosa in the Imperial dungeon immediately. The chubby girl definitely knows something. If you won't talk, then I'll deal with your mother." As expected, the chubby girl immediately confessed everything. Irina wanted to curse. "Seriously? You sold me out just like that?" The Duke smiled wickedly at a slime, huh? My dear daughter, it seems you care about it quite a bit. Everyone, listen up. Search 100 kilometers around. Once you find it, kill it immediately. Meanwhile, Dada had just climbed ashore. When the Duke's men found him, finally found you, little thing. Dada felt an unprecedented threat. While the man was momentarily stunned, he quickly made his escape. But how could he be a match for the man? Raising his hand, magic condensed. Dada's path was blocked. The man had caught up. I'll slaughter you. The Duke will surely reward me. A blade flew out. Dada collapsed in pain. And in that instant, all of his memories awakened. The man retrieved a handkerchief. Taking it back would be enough proof. Dada, writhing in pain on the ground, could only think of Irina. Fragments of their time together flashed before his eyes. He had to survive. His devotion to Irina awakened his power. A dazzling light emerged. He was teleported thousands of miles away to the north. Irina, wait for me. I definitely will come and save you. On the other side, Valen successfully completed the Duke's task. The demon fragment should satisfy the Duke. This way, he could get the antidote for his little sister. But just as he reached the door, he ran into the man who had attacked Dada. The handkerchief in a man's hand made Valen's blood run cold. He knew Dada had been discovered and certainly attacked. Thinking of his sister's smile about to disappear, he rushed to Irina's room. After learning that Dada had been attacked, the girl burst into uncontrollable tears. His emotions gradually crumbled. Why? Why is this happening? Even my only friend is being taken away. He's just a little guy. His existence poses no threat to the Duke. Valen lowered his head in guilt. Hatred for the Duke surged through the siblings like a tidal wave, but they could only hide it in their hearts until the day of reckoning arrived. 5 years passed in a flash. Irina had reached marriageable age. She still maintained the facade of an obedient young lady. The Duke, however, was only concerned with the petals on her wrist. They must bloom to 5 petals before she meets the Grand Duke. So you only have 1 week. Grand Duke Luther's celebratory banquet begins next week. Your task is to make him fall for you. So now, I permit you to go out and enter aristocratic society. Irina had been waiting for this day for a long time. Meanwhile, in the Grand Duke's mansion, a man was tending to his wounds. Having just returned from a monster battlefield, the butler reported intelligence on the Duke's household. He didn't understand why his master was so interested in Irina's letters. The Grand Duke, however, had a playful expression and remained silent. My master, your Dada has become very, very strong now. And on the other side, Irina was finally able to go out. She had 2 very important things to do. For example, this person named Yeliila. She was also one of the Grand Duchess candidates. Although Irina didn't know if she was reliable, the enemy of her enemy was her friend. Perhaps she could cooperate with her. With her jet black pink hair, Yeliila's beauty was renowned in aristocratic circles. Coupled with the title of Grand Duchess candidate, everyone fawned over her until Irina appeared. From the very first glance, Yeliila felt utterly defeated. She even became infatuated, but she quickly regained her composure. This is my rival. She sarcastically mocked Irina, showing off her own advantages, unaware that these little tricks, in Irina's eyes, were as childish as Dada's. Irina only needed to make a slight move, and it was already the limit of this level. With her hands in her pockets, Irina didn't even know what an opponent was. It was essentially a face-slapping scene, but the process was too convoluted to explain. Yeliila felt like a clown. She couldn't compare to Irina in anything. Angrily, she slipped away from the banquet hall, and this was precisely Irina's intention. Seeing her follow, Yeliila widened her eyes. She thought Irina was humiliating her. Don't be nervous, my dear. I just want to be friends with you. You know, I've never been out before. I don't even have any friends, and you happen to be just my type. So, would you be my first friend? After this combination of moves, the naive Yeliila actually blushed. They went to a hot pot restaurant together. After a short time together, Yeliila discovered that this rival was actually quite fun. She slowly let down her guard around Irina, and Irina achieved her goal. After saying goodbye to Yeliila, she went to another Western restaurant, retrieving a hidden token. Using her knowledge of the plot, she secured a meeting with the man behind the scenes. It turned out that the owner of the Western restaurant, Herwin, owned the largest intelligence guild in the entire empire. But he couldn't help but be surprised when he saw his visitor. Irina, daughter of Duke Sodis. This is truly unbelievable. And the woman got straight to the point. I want to make a deal with you. Herwin smiled slyly that MY prices aren't cheap, you know. As far as I know, you don't seem to have any money. That's why I'm not using money to trade with you. After all, some things are more valuable than money. Herwin initially had a dismissive expression until Irina mentioned the name Mel. He instantly became serious. That was his missing sister. Well, tell me the truth. oath, or I'll strangle you. He tightened his grip on Irina's neck. My sister isn't just my secret. She's a man's deepest secret. Even if you were a monster, I'd still kill you. Irina wasn't afraid that you'd better let me go. Otherwise, you'll lose your only chance of finding your sister. After the man calmed down, he agreed to cooperate with Irina. He didn't think Irina would lie. It wouldn't benefit her. Irina's condition was to receive all the information about her father and the saint held by the Archbishop of the Central Temple. Meanwhile, at the Grand Duke's mansion, a servant wondered, why did the master buy so many things? He wanted to give Irina the most romantic proposal. A week passed quickly. Almost all the nobles of the empire attended the Grand Duke's celebratory banquet. Irina looked worried, hoping the plan wouldn't go wrong. The host announced loudly, and Grand Duke Luther slowly entered the hall. He locked eyes with Irina. Why did he feel a sense of familiarity? The crowd cheered. Noble ladies swooned. But the only one in Luther's eyes was Irina. Master, do you see? I've become stronger. Strong enough to protect you. The king and queen personally welcomed him as a hero of the empire. The king gave him generous rewards. After the formalities, the king asked if he desired anything else. He'd been waiting for this. I have one wish, Your Majesty. I hope to receive your blessing for a wedding. Irina was stunned. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. Even more irritating, the Grand Duke already had a woman he liked. Soon it was time for the banquet. The man instructed Irina to find a way to get close to the Grand Duke, even if it meant resorting to seduction. If you can't marry him, you have no purpose. Understand? Meanwhile, the Grand Duke, having just entered the banquet hall, immediately spotted Irina in the crowd. Their second eye contact intensified the strange familiarity she felt, a feeling of destiny. Especially that smile. What's going on? Am I falling for him? Suddenly, a drunk man appeared behind her, leering. He tried to get Irina to dance with him. Luther's eyes turned cold. He put a hand on the man. Excuse me. He said, this lady is my dance partner. Go back to where you came from. Irina stared at the man who had suddenly appeared. Before she could react, he extended a hand to her. May I have this dance, my lady? Irina, startled, instinctively reached out. The moment their hands touched, Irina felt a long-lost sense of security, just like she had with Dada. The man said, Miss Irina, what you desire, I can help you achieve. His words puzzled Irina. Does he know what I want? Perhaps he really did. He asked her to join him on the balcony. He said he had an important gift for her. Irina was surprised. It seems the Grand Duke is interested in me. This could save me a lot of trouble. She went to the balcony as agreed. The sight that met her eyes made her heart skip a beat. Besides his handsome face, the entire balcony was covered in purple lilacs. He picked a sprig and offered it to her, his voice magnetic and gentle. This is my gift to you. Irina genuinely loved it. Memories from years ago surfaced. Dada had given her lilacs before. She wondered how this man knew her deepest secret. Because these are my favorite flowers too, he said, leaning closer. On the quiet balcony, only the sound of their accelerating heartbeats could be heard. But at this crucial moment, an aide suddenly burst through the door. Pardon me, Your Highness. His Majesty requests your presence urgently. Irina, having just returned to the hall, suddenly noticed a man behind her. Herwin had been waiting for her. Thanks to Irina's intelligence, she had successfully located her sister. This is the sacred relic from the Central Temple, as promised. Irina smashed it. What she wanted was the gem inside. It was the key to controlling Grand Duke Luther's rampages. Now, she had another bargaining chip. However, Herwin, there's something else. I need you to go to the northern slime lands and find a slime with an injured eye. His name is Dada. He's a very dear friend of mine. The next morning, Luther arrived at Irina's home. She found it rather odd. This hero Grand Duke, the slayer of monsters, seemed adorably clueless. Although she had the feeling he liked her, since he had come to her, she might as well try to negotiate a partnership. But when the maids brought the tea, they lingered, refusing to leave. Irina sensed trouble. They were monitoring her. She could only make small talk with Luther. Occasionally, she feigned affection for him. Luther knew it was an act, but seeing his master like this reminded him of the past. Suddenly, the side effects of the Kalen flower hit her. Pain racked her body. She fought to endure it. She couldn't. Let Luther think she was weak. She was terrified of losing his favor, unaware that he knew everything. He barely contained his rage, his jaw clenched. He had intended to wait, but now every second was agony. Miss Irina, come with me to the Northern Grand Duchy. With the Grand Duke's flying speed, the Iron God's face softened, his voice shy and gentle as, oh, Miss Irina, will you marry me? A union that will never be broken. News of their engagement quickly spread throughout the empire. But for the royal family, it was unwelcome news. Grand Duke Luther was a royalist, while Irina's father, Duke Sodes, was quite the opposite. He had always had his eye on the throne. So the empress, who held the power, summoned Luther. She believed his actions posed a threat to the royal family. And even though you have achieved remarkable feats, heights, repelling countless monster armies. There is one thing that can never be erased. After all, your Luthor family is not simply human. You carry monster blood within you. It is your family's sole blemish. The Grand Duke's family, generations loyal to the crown, tainted because their ancestor was seduced by a shape-shifting monster. Their descendants are cursed. If they go too long without bloodshed, they will not only lose control and go berserk, but their very lives will be consumed by magic. The final outcome is death in the Grand Duchy's forest. This is Luthor's fate, a destiny he cannot escape. Of course, this is a secret known only to the royal family and the Grand Duke. The Empress's true purpose in summoning him was to warn him that he would not collude with Duke Sodis. After all, you know best what the consequences would be should the royal family fall. Though her words were unpleasant, Luthor spoke his mind. Your Majesty, you worry too much. My purpose in marrying her daughter is not for an alliance. First, I love Irina deeply. Second, my goal is to destroy Sodis. I swear this on my family name. Therefore, I hope to receive your blessing. The Empress was stunned. His eyes seemed sincere, but she couldn't understand why Luthor would harbor such hatred for Sodis. The wedding day arrived quickly. The hall was filled with nobles, clad in formal attire. The wedding car slowly pulled up alongside. Irina, dressed in her wedding gown, had been waiting for a long time. She was beautiful, like the brightest star in the night sky. The men were stunned, their hearts involuntarily racing, their ears turning red. She only ever felt this shy around Irina. The Duke, however, appeared extremely impatient. In his eyes, the two were already dead. Inside the hall, the officiant performed a simple ceremony. This was her father's request, but just as the two were about to exchange vows, the door was rudely pushed open. It was Irina's brother who had rushed back. He stopped the officiant and, "Oh, Irina, you absolutely cannot marry him." Irina was shocked. "Brother, shouldn't you be on the battlefield?" Just as Warren was about to say something, Duke Sodis' eyes suddenly turned cold. He absolutely would not allow anyone to disrupt his plans. Warren ultimately chose to compromise. Luthor read the vows. Irina listened intently. Looking at the woman before him, Luthor recited, "To grow old together, sharing joys and sorrows. I will not forget my promise." Irina was puzzled. Luthor's gaze seemed a little too intense, as if he had truly fallen in love. Whatever, she thought, none of that matters. As long as my plan continues smoothly. The wedding quickly concluded. Her father finally left. Irina prepared to have a good talk with Luthor. Unexpectedly, Warren jumped in. He felt his sister must have been threatened, and this wedding was far too hasty. Irina was exasperated. "Seriously, brother? Do I look like I'm being threatened?" It felt like the two were about to start fighting, so Irina had to drag Warren away. Warren was agitated. "Luthor, that guy's not a good person." "Irina, you should marry someone like me, you know?" Although it was a bit strange, Irina was still touched by her brother's concern. She assured him, "I'm fine. I really did marry the Grand Duke willingly." Seeing his sister's resolve, Warren could only take out what he had prepared. "This is the Grand Duke's map and secret escape routes I obtained at great cost. If you feel Luthor is dangerous, you must escape immediately. Understand." His eyes were filled with worry for Irina. "And the slime you asked me to find, Dada." Hearing about Dada, Irina immediately became excited. "The description matches yours. It also has a scar under its eye. But strangely, as soon as my soldiers approached, a large fire suddenly erupted. It was as if someone deliberately used magic. After the fire disappeared, the slime vanished without a trace. But the direction it was heading was directly towards Luthor's territory." Warren's face was full of apology. He felt he hadn't fulfilled his sister's request and was very sorry to Irina. Irina didn't blame Warren at all. Instead, she felt that having this brother was a ray of light in this terrifying world. And Irina believed that with Dada's cleverness, it would definitely survive. Then, she took out the sacred relic she had received from her win. She had originally intended to use it as leverage for the marriage with the Grand Duke, but now it was no longer necessary. Sodis' mental suppression is very powerful. This relic might be of some help to you, brother. Remember to keep it close to you at all times, understand? It seemed this item must be quite special. The corners of Warren's mouth couldn't help but curl upwards. His gaze became even more determined. "Don't worry, little sister. I will definitely find the antidote for the Kalen flower for you." Before Warren could say anything more, Luthor appeared. He walked straight towards Irina and him, "Why, dear wife, we should go." Hearing him call her wife, Irina didn't react for a moment. "Do you not like that title, my lady?" No, it's fine. Your Highness, as you wish." "All right, my dear wife. I will strive to be a worthy husband. Please guide me in the years to come." As Luthor drew closer, Irina's heart unexpectedly began to race. What's going on? Could this guy actually like me? Suddenly, Warren interrupted them. Ugh, so cheesy. Are you two not even considering my feelings as a single man? Good grief. Elsewhere, within the Grand Duke's mansion, everyone was bustling about. The Grand Duke had given the order. The entire residence must be completely renewed before the Grand Duchess's arrival. They even went so far as to employ a mage just to install heating in the mansion. The two butlers hadn't seen such a commotion in years. At first, they were quite happy to hear about the Grand Duke's marriage. But the bride being Sodie's daughter, they didn't know whether to be happy or worried. The male butler told him not to overthink it. His Highness the Grand Duke knew what he was doing. Their conversation was overheard by a young woman nearby. Duke Sodie's daughter? I must report this to my lady immediately. She then hurried to her mistress's room. This person was named Lotis, Luther's younger sister. The young woman told her everything. The heating magic was probably also to accommodate the frail and sickly Irina. My dear brother, you always do such surprising things. But this mansion isn't yours alone. You could have at least told me first. I'm very curious about what kind of person Irina is to make my brother so lovesick. Maria, keep a close watch on him with me. Report any unusual activity to me immediately. Irina, I don't know what your intentions are, but if you dare to have any designs on my brother's mansion, don't blame me for being ruthless. And just what kind of magic do you possess to bewitch my iron-willed brother? Meanwhile, Irina had been feeling strange these past 2 days. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Luther's image. Irina arrived at Luther's Grand Duchy. The northern scenery was beautiful, just a bit too cold. The carriage slowly stopped at the entrance of the Grand Duke's mansion. Luther had been waiting for a long time. Welcome, my wife. He kissed Irina's hand in a gentlemanly manner. The girl told her the red-haired, chubby girl was Bella, her personal maid. Seeing Irina shivering from the cold, Luther's face was filled with concern. He held her hand tightly. Come, my wife. I've warmed the entire mansion for you and redecorated many areas. You'll love it. Irina stared at him, dumbfounded. The Grand Duke was being a little too good to her. As expected, the environment inside the castle made Irina feel incredibly comfortable. It was as if underfloor heating had been installed. She expressed her sincere gratitude to him. Aside from her brother, he was the second man to be so kind to her. Luther became a little shy. He, as long as you like it. The butlers and maids respectfully greeted Irina. The male butler's name was Greeley, and the female butler's name was Olga. Both were the Grand Duke's most trusted individuals. Madam, you can tell them anything. Suddenly, Luther's aide appeared. Welcome, Grand Duchess. However, His Highness the Grand Duke has an emergency. He needs you to come quickly. The monsters on the perimeter are stirring again. Luther had no choice. Although he wanted to personally show Irina around, the safety of the territory was paramount. He asked Greeley to accompany her. Watching Luther's departing back, Irina felt even more touched. The Grand Duke was so considerate, seemingly completely different from the rumors. She quickly finished touring the castle. Initially, Irina was quite nervous. Was she going to share a room with the Grand Duke tonight? However, Greeley informed her that the Grand Duke would be staying in the guest room for the time being. According to our northern tradition, the Grand Duchess needs to stay in the guest room for a period of time and will share a room with the Grand Duke after the family banquet. Irina blushed involuntarily, remembering the scene from her dream. After escorting them to the room, Greeley withdrew. Bella finally relaxed. She had thought the Northerners would be incredibly fierce, but they were all so kind. Now you're finally free from the Duke's control. Bella was genuinely happy for Irina. Just then, there was a knock at the door. Lodi slowly entered, seemingly with ill intentions. Outwardly polite, the maid's lips held a constant sneer. Irina didn't notice her intentions. After dismissing Bella, Lodis stated her purpose directly to why Mother used to manage the Grand Duke's affairs. But after she passed away, this task fell to me. So, what I mean to say is I should continue to handle this task. What do you think, Grand Duchess? She thought Irina would definitely fight her for the authority. However, Irina's response was the opposite. He couldn't hide his joy. My goodness, Gonini is so understanding. But even so, he still hasn't gained Lodi's favor. It seems like he's prejudiced against the Sodis family. He even thinks this is some kind of disguise by Irina. So, he went directly to Luther. He pushed the door open forcefully. Can you leave for a moment? I need to talk to my brother alone. My dear brother, what should we do? I really can't accept the Grand Duchess. Luther didn't understand what his sister meant, that I don't think Irina is qualified to be the Grand Duchess. I just tested her a little, and she doesn't even have the intention of managing the Grand Princess's internal affairs. Not only is she from the Sodis family, but I even think her purpose in marrying you isn't pure. More importantly, you actually used the family's year-end budget for her. My dear brother, has she bewitched you? Luther earnestly explained that he truly loved Irina, and she won't be a member of the Sodi's family anymore, understand? She's a kind, gentle, and positive person. If you could put aside your prejudice, you would definitely see her most precious side. But Lodis didn't seem to listen at all, and even had a big fight with Luther because of it. Irina was completely unaware of this. She just felt very hungry. Suddenly, a wave of aroma drifted over. A knock on the door followed. After finishing her business, Luther immediately came to find Irina. "Madam, haven't you eaten yet? I had someone bring some food. Let's eat together." After the maid, behind her, set the table, Irina noticed something was off. Why do these dishes look so familiar? She suddenly remembered they seem to be the same as the ones Dada brought me the first time. Is it my imagination? Why do I always think of Dada when I'm with the Grand Duke? And the scar under his eye looks just like Dada's. Could it be that the Grand Duke is Dada transformed? But after just 2.5 seconds, she dismissed the idea. How could a slime turn into a human? There's no such setting in the original story. Luther also noticed something was amiss. "Madam, you keep staring at me. Is there something on my face?" "I apologize, Your Highness. I was lost in thought. I just don't know why. Every time I see you, I think of my childhood playmate. He was a very cute little guy. Very smart, very considerate, and very good at taking care of me. Just like Your Highness." Irina's words made Luther's heart race. S.O. That's the Dada in your heart. He couldn't hide his joy, did I assure you, madam. I will be the best husband. Remembering his past self, at his most severely injured. It was the belief in protecting Irina that kept him going. That smile healed me and gave me endless strength. It was also she who supported him in becoming the Grand Duke. All these years, every time he thought of Irina, he would have this dream. Early the next morning, Irina knew she had to start her plan. The petals were full, and the demon could be summoned at any time. She had to find the antidote for the Kalen flower while the Grand Duke was out clearing monsters. She asked Bella to call the butler. She had to act immediately. She told Bella to call the butler. Remember, the antidote is in the rebirth forest behind the Grand Duke's mansion. But when Greeley learned of Irina's intentions, he didn't hesitate to refuse. After all, that place was infested with monsters and very dangerous. But Irina was even more determined, saying that as the Grand Duchess, she should go pay respects to the ancestors of the Luther family. Even so, the butler still disagreed. But Irina's perseverance moved Greeley. This seemingly fragile woman was so brave and fearless. He told Irina that the key to the forest was in Lodi's possession. In that case, thank you, Greeley. Meanwhile, Lodis was still worried about money. The Grand Duke's expenses had been seriously over budget recently. Her brother had spent a fortune clearing monsters, and now he had used up a large portion for that woman from the Sodis family. The more Lodis thought about it, the angrier she became. Suddenly, Maria came in and said that the Grand Duchess wanted to see her. Lodis was startled. Does she want to replace me again? But after hearing that Irina only wanted to enter the rebirth forest, Lodis was overjoyed. Paying respects to the ancestors is a good excuse. My dear sister-in-law, I can't refuse you like this. This is the perfect opportunity to mess with you. So, her expression instantly changed to one of utter admiration, afraid that Irina might change her mind. Then she unlocked the door 2 meters away. A gloomy and terrifying feeling suddenly arose. Compared to Lodi's discomfort, Irina felt the air here was fragrant. Then Lodis quickly made an excuse, saying she had other matters to attend to and couldn't accompany her sister-in-law inside. But she didn't know this was exactly what Irina wanted. Hurry up and go. Hurry up and go. With you here, I wouldn't know how to look for things. Leaving behind a stunned Lodis. Is this woman crazy? Irina quickly arrived in the depths of the jungle. But she didn't know the exact location of the antidote. It seemed she could only search slowly. Fortunately, she was deeply infused with the poison of the Kalen flower, so she was accepted by the forest. Ordinary monsters wouldn't bother with her. Suddenly, she saw some eye-catching fruit on a tree. As a collector of magical fruits, she hadn't found the antidote yet, but she had collected a whole bunch of random flowers and fruits. She put them all into her magical storage bag, but there was still no sign of the antidote. The sun was about to set. She had to hurry up. Suddenly, she seemed to see something. It was a very ancient tree. When she got closer, she discovered a golden grape growing on it. She remembered the antidote was a fruit that emitted a golden light. But why wasn't it glowing? While she was pondering, a giant golden python appeared before her, hissing at her incessantly. Irina was terrified. She couldn't be immune to a high-level monster. The python opened its massive jaws and lunged at her. But to Irina's surprise, it didn't hurt her. The The python sensed the power within Irina. It lowered its head and gently nudged her hand. Irina was stunned for only a second before she realized it doesn't want to attack me. Even more surprising, she could understand what it was saying. The python even turned and led the way for her. After following the giant snake for a while, she finally found the real antidote. The entire tree radiated a brilliant golden light. She could sense the divine power within the fruit. Irina plucked it directly and ate it without hesitation. In just 2.5 seconds, the petals on her wrist began to disappear. Finally, the girl was overjoyed, but suddenly, a wave of dizziness washed over her. She collapsed on the ground, unconscious. She didn't know how much time passed. When she groggily opened her eyes, she was still dizzy. It must have been the neutralizing effect of the kaolin flower side effects. The giant python had long since disappeared. The tree before her no longer glowed. It began to wither, but she could clearly feel that the power had transferred into her body. Is this the legendary divine power? As long as I can control this power, I will definitely become a powerful figure in this world. But now the sun was setting. She had to get back quickly. Unfortunately, something unlucky happened. She got lost. She felt like she was just going in circles. Just then, a familiar figure suddenly appeared behind her. Irina seemed to sense it and turned around. She instantly froze. A flood of memories rushed into her mind. A round, blue form, and the scar under his EY.is that you dada. Irina stared blankly, lost in thought. The girl couldn't hide her joy. Heaven is truly on my side. To think I would meet you again. But Dada seemed very angry. Why did you come to such a dangerous place? Irina didn't understand why he was angry. At least Dada still remembered her. I came to find something very important, she told him gently. He suddenly came to his senses. You idiot, why are you here? You know it's dangerous. You're so small. What if you get eaten? He acted all high and mighty, like he owned the forest. This whole forest is my hunting ground. Irina stopped teasing him and pulled Dada into a hug. You know, little guy, I really missed you. Dada blushed crimson. Before he could speak, Irina cupped him in her hands, gazing at him affectionately. Dada, did you miss me? She stared intently at him. Seeing her expression, Dada felt a pang of sadness. He had missed Irina too, but he wasn't ready to face her again. Irina seemed to sense something. Why does Dada feel so familiar? Like we've only been apart for a short time? Suddenly, Dada jumped down from her hands. He felt that if he stayed any longer, he would be exposed. Irina ran after him. When she stopped, she realized Dada had completely disappeared. Just then, she realized she had reached the forest exit. Grilly rushed over to her. Thank goodness, madam. You're safe. As they left, Irina felt Dada's gaze on her back. She turned around, but saw nothing. They quickly returned to the Grand Duke's mansion. Luther returned soon after Irina. The reproach in his eyes was unmistakable. Why did you allow Madam to go into the forest? The Grand Duke's accusatory tone made the butler flinch. He didn't try to evade responsibility. Your Highness, please punish me. This was my negligence. Fortunately, Luther knew the key wasn't Greeley's fault. Now, immediately, bring Lodi's to my office. Irina, standing in a corner, had a bad feeling. Will the maid be punished because of me? She worried. Lodis was panicking. How did my brother find out so quickly? I just wanted to scare her a little. I didn't expect her to stay in there for so long. She timidly pushed open Luther's door. She hadn't expected him to be so angry. The siblings began to argue fiercely. Suddenly, there was a knock. Irina poked her head in, interrupting them. Both Luther and Lodis looked embarrassed. Irina spoke up. Please don't blame the maid. It was my own insistence on going. They all warned me that it was dangerous, but I was stubborn. Lodis, please leave. I'll explain to the Grand Duke. Irina thought, wow, she's actually standing up for me. I can't believe she's speaking on my behalf. After Lodis left, Luther's expression became unusually serious. He was deeply worried about Irina's safety. His attitude surprised her. This man, whom I've barely met, why do I feel such genuine concern from him? Perhaps it was Irina's intense stare, but Luther's cheeks flushed red again. He averted his gaze. Because you're the most important person to me. Irina was flustered. Was that a confession? But we're only married for political reasons. The Grand Duke belongs with the female lead. She turned away awkwardly. But thinking about it, it was strange. It seemed like from their very first meeting, this supposedly ruthless Grand Duke had been particularly attentive to her, almost as if he knew her very well. She asked him hesitantly, have we met before? Luther stiffened. His heart pounded. Perhaps we have. I'll tell you later. All right. He quickly urged Irina to go and rest. Just wait a little longer, Irina. It won't be long. She thought, he's really pushing me away. Didn't you say I was important to you? Yet you're sending me away. She couldn't recall ever meeting the Grand Duke before. Suddenly, Lodis called out to her. She had been waiting for Irina. She wanted to know why Irina had defended her. You should be able to tell, I didn't let you go into the forest out of kindness. But Irina's smile seemed to have affected her that I was just telling the truth. After all, I was the one who asked you to open the door for me. Lodis looked disbelieving. Why would you help me? Everyone who's ever helped me has always wanted something in return. Before she could figure out, Irina told her earnestly, I know you care deeply about the Lutherli family. I also know you probably don't see me in a favorable light. After all, our families don't have a good relationship. But since I've joined your family and become the Grand Duchess, I also hope the Lutherli family will prosper. May I formally introduce myself? I'm Lodis, the headmaid. He stared blankly at Irina's hand. He ultimately chose to tentatively trust Irina. Is this woman truly this unique? It's been a long, long time since anyone has been willing to stand by my side. Could I have misjudged her before? Sodi's maid. He decided to get to know this person better. A few days later, on the other side of the empire, Hervin received 2 letters from the north. One of them was from Irina, asking him to help sell some herbs. The second letter was from Lodis. He actually requested all of Irina's detailed information. It just so happens that I've finished gathering intelligence on the Sodi family. My father found it strange when Irina initially commissioned me to monitor him. Unexpectedly, Irina grew up in that kind of environment. Duke Sodi, who appeared to be a virtuous gentleman, turned out to be a devil. He had a bad premonition. He felt like something big was about to happen in the empire. Meanwhile, back at the Grand Duke's mansion, today was the day of the family banquet. Irina dressed herself beautifully. After all, she would be living with the Grand Duke starting today. But what made her feel even more disheartened was that she couldn't find any way to use her divine power. She felt like she was still a weak woman. Soon, the banquet ended. Luther composed himself and entered. In truth, he was even more nervous than Irina. Irina looked at him, her cheeks flushed. The Grand Duke looked even more handsome with his hair down. So, Madam likes this hairstyle of mine? He then quietly moved closer to Irina. Both of their hearts were pounding. They were incredibly nervous. It was then that Irina realized how beautiful the Grand Duke's eyes were and how familiar they seemed. Just as they were about to kiss, Irina suddenly pushed him away. A cough followed. The side effects of the Kylan flower hadn't completely worn off yet. Irina felt a sense of dread. She was in this weakened state in front of the Grand Duke. Unbeknownst to her, the Grand Duke's hands were trembling. He gently wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, his voice filled with worry and panic. You seem to be in a lot of pain. Luther embraced Irina. Please, don't let anything happen to you. Irina suddenly had a strange feeling. It was the same as when Dada hugged her. It was so strange, yet so warm. Irina didn't expect to fall asleep on his shoulder like that. When she opened her eyes the next morning, Irina found that Lutherli was already gone. But when she looked down, she saw Dada snoring. Am I dreaming? She reached out a trembling hand and gently touched him. It felt exactly like Dada. He drowsily opened his eyes. Irina instantly jumped back in fright. Little guy, what are you doing here? Hearing her words, Dada woke up completely. Oh no, why did I transform at a time like this? Is Irina going to find out? But because the author wouldn't allow it, Irina didn't realize that Dada was the Grand Duke Lutherli. She sighed in relief. Thank goodness the Grand Duke didn't see you. Then she proceeded to lecture, don't you know how dangerous this place is? His Highness the Grand Duke is a god of war who specializes in eliminating monsters. If he found you, you'd be dead for sure. Dada, however, insisted that the Grand Duke wasn't scary at all, but rather a very, very good person. Could it be that Dada was rescued by the Grand Duke? A strange thought suddenly occurred to Irina that it's good that I got to see you again before the divorce. Otherwise, I would have definitely gone back to the forest to look for you. At her words, Dada instantly became angry. Divorce? You're dreaming. Unfortunately, Irina was completely oblivious to his intentions. She just thought Dada had suddenly become very irritable. Suddenly, there was a knock at the door. Irina quickly hid Dada under the bed. And no matter what happens, you absolutely cannot come out, okay? Thankfully, it was only Bella at the door. She informed Irina that it was time for breakfast. But little did she know, Lodis was also waiting for her outside the door. He had received Hervin's intelligence report. He learned about Irina's true past, the golden child in the eyes of outsiders. He never imagined she grew up in such an environment. Hervin told him the information was completely accurate. Duke Sodi wanted to make her an obedient pawn. However, the Grand Duchess had been resisting. Sodi not only married into the family's enemy, but also rashly entered the Forest of Rebirth. Lodi started to piece things together in his mind. He thought Irina must have been trying to gain the Grand Duke's family's approval to break free from Sodi's control. He realized he had misunderstood her and almost put Irina in danger. As someone who takes responsibility for his actions, Lodis felt he had to apologize. But when Irina opened the door and came out, seeing the gentle radiance on her face, the guilt in Lodis' heart intensified. The apology never left his lips. He hurriedly made an excuse and left. Irina was bewildered. Bella said, Wasn't he waiting for me? Suddenly, Hervin told her the palace attendant probably wanted to apologize to you. Seeing it was Hervin, he took out the gold coins from selling the herbs and handed them to the girl. Irina was a little surprised that, my friend, you went through so much trouble to deliver this money to me personally. I'm definitely keeping you as a friend. She truly admired Hervin's ability to sell everything in just a few days. Then the man took out a stack of documents. This is all the recent intelligence on your father. I've discovered that Sodi's madness isn't ordinary. He's becoming obsessed with his search for the demon fragments. He's even searching for the Grand Grimoire. Irina was somewhat astonished. The plot was developing much faster than in the original story. She needed to come up with a countermeasure quickly. She told Hervin, there's a replica of the Star of the Demon Mirror. I know where it is. Can you find a way to get it and sell it to Duke Sodi? That item is the core for summoning demons. If we use a fake, we can definitely weaken the demon's power significantly. Of course, she didn't tell Hervin all of this. The man only considered it for 2.5 seconds before readily agreeing to Irina's request. The girl sincerely thanked him, but Hervin put on what he thought was a charming expression. Why talk about thanks between us? Then he leaned closer to Irina. Tell me, why did you suddenly get married? It kind of broke my heart, you know. The next second, Dada flew out. The familiar crow takes flight attack. Before Irina could react, a combination of blows rained down on Hervin. The girl watched in shock. Dada stood dutifully on Hervin's head, thinking, the look in someone's eyes can't be hidden. Master can only be mine. No one can steal her. After several 2.5-second intervals, the man finally recovered. This little guy is incredibly strong. Irina scolded Dada for attacking someone without reason. But Dada refused to listen on this matter, declaring, I just wanted to hit him. Hervin then realized that this slime was the one Irina had commissioned him to find. It seemed to be no ordinary monster. Could it have developed intelligence? Seeing the man looking at him, Dada glared back, the killing intent in his eyes making Hervin flinch. Why does this little guy seem so terrifying? He didn't linger any longer. After receiving Irina's confirmation, he said, congratulations on finding your most precious friend. He seemed genuinely happy for her. Seeing the man's expression, Irina sincerely thanked him. Thank you for your hard work, Mr. Hervin, for helping me find him all this time. But this expression made Dada particularly unhappy. He could only vent his frustration. Seeing this, Hervin quickly got up and left. I feel like if I stay any longer, I'll be the first person to die at the hands of slime. So, until we meet again, Miss Irina. After the man left, Dada expressed his dissatisfaction. He pointed his little finger at Irina and a divorce. No cheating, understand? Irina was speechless. How could that be, little guy? Hervin is just a friend. Unexpectedly, Dada suddenly became affectionate. Irina, don't abandon me. The girl was shocked. Why did Dada's voice sound like a deflating balloon? She gently cupped Dada in her hands. Don't worry, little one. I won't abandon you. I'll always be with you. Seeing this, Dada's mood finally improved. You can't lie to me. Otherwise, I'll go beat up that guy from just now. Suddenly, she noticed a power emanating from Irina's hands. The girl told her it was divine power. Originally, it belonged to the male lead, but I secretly took it. It's a shame that, even now, I still don't know how to use this power. Unexpectedly, Dada was overjoyed. You stole Grand Duke Luther's divine power? That's fantastic. He thought that if this were the case, Irina would surely feel guilty when she learned his true identity. That way, she wouldn't easily abandon him. Meanwhile, inside the Empire's temple, a silver-haired woman slowly approached. The woman's name was Lodis, the original female lead. The Divine Crowns were in a meeting. They felt that Grand Duke Luther was going too far. He should have contacted them long ago, but he refused every time. The Divine Crowns were also extremely helpless. The Grand Duke should have received the temple's baptism long ago. But because of Luther, this task couldn't be completed. They even felt they should tell His Majesty. Lodis was also a bit shocked. She heard that Irina and the Grand Duke had a very good relationship, and Luther shouldn't resist the temple. It was more important to him. How could the two of them suddenly get married? Could it be because of her transmigration that the plot had changed? It seemed she had to meet Irina in person. Meanwhile, in the Grand Duke's mansion, Irina was spacing out on the balcony. Seemingly preoccupied, she hadn't seen the Grand Duke all day. She was a little worried for some reason. Dada beside her was surprised. Did he actually hold some weight in Irina's heart? He comforted Irina, saying the Grand Duke was probably just busy. Then, as if he had made up his mind, he gritted his teeth and asked the girl, "Are you waiting for the Grand Duke to return?" "Yes, I've been waiting all day, but he's still nowhere to be seen." "Why? Why are you waiting for him to come back?" Dada seemed eager to know the answer to this question. Irina initially wanted to make an excuse, but then she thought it wouldn't hurt to be honest with Dada. So, she gathered her thoughts. Because he disappeared without a word, I feel a little down. More importantly, the Grand Duke is supposed to be with the female lead in the future, but I've realized I seem to have developed feelings for him. Little Dada, what should I do? Dada's heart was practically pounding out of his chest. He finally got the answer he wanted. He tried to suppress his inner joy. Don't worry, Irina. The Grand Duke won't end up with the female lead. Thank you for comforting me, little Dada. But feelings can't be forced. Unexpectedly, Dada said very seriously, I wouldn't lie to you. The Grand Duke really likes you. Irina couldn't help but pinch him. You little flatterer. You're so good at making people happy. It was already quite late. Dada lay down next to Irina. Little one, I remember the last time I looked at you like this was many years ago. She and Dada fell into a deep sleep. But in the middle of the night, Irina felt something heavy on her. She thought she was dreaming, so she ignored it. When she woke up the next morning, Dada was long gone. Grand Duke Luther had appeared in the room at some point. The man looked at Irina timidly. The girl also came to her senses. When did the Grand Duke return? She then searched every corner of the room, but she couldn't find Dada. Did he run away to avoid the Grand Duke? But with the Grand Duke's abilities, he would definitely have noticed Dada. Seeing Irina's helpless expression, Luther couldn't hold back any longer. He earnestly told Irina, Madam, listen to me. I am your Dada. Confessing the truth seemed to have exhausted all of the man's courage. Irina felt her mind reeling. She even thought that the Grand Duke had gotten rid of Dada and was making excuses. But the man's expression was sincere. Believe me, Irina, I wouldn't lie to you. Years ago, when my powers awakened, I returned to my human form. I realized then that I was the male lead you spoke of. While I was recovering, my mind was constantly filled with memories of being with you. To protect you in the future, I quickly threw myself into the war against the monsters. I wanted to become a god of war, because only then would I be worthy of you. Only then could I save you from the Sodi family. Until the moment I met you again. I picked you out from the crowd. At the royal banquet, that drunk man wanted to dance with you. Only I knew. It was your father who wanted to collaborate with him, so he made you accompany him on the dance floor. You know what? Back then, I wanted to tear Sodi limb from limb. Later, when I went to the Duke's mansion to find you, seeing you weakened by the poison, my heart ached even more. I wished I could take you away from the Sodi Duke's mansion immediately, right then and there. And then, finally, we got married. You were truly beautiful in your wedding dress. I thought about telling you the truth, but I just couldn't bring myself to say it. I was so afraid you would distance yourself from me because of it. Hearing Luther say all this, his own experiences with Dada, what he said was completely accurate. This means the man in front of her really is Dada. Irina felt like the sky was falling. The male lead of a dark fantasy novel is actually a slime? What the heck? More importantly, she had previously shared many embarrassing things with Dada. Irina felt like she couldn't face anyone. She wanted to find a hole to crawl into. Seeing Irina's expression as Luther was about to help her remember more, Irina suddenly covered his mouth. Shut up, don't say any more. Then, blushing furiously, she quickly ran away. This is so embarrassing. What should I do? Maybe I should take a driving test to calm down. Looking at the girl running away, Luther's face was filled with worry. Irina, will you hate me because of this? For the next few days, Irina suffered from insomnia. She still couldn't understand how a perfectly good male lead could be a slime. Bella was very worried. She felt that Irina was very... Suddenly, Grilly walked in. He was startled when he saw Irina. Madam, your complexion is a bit poor. Are you ill? I heard you've moved into the guest room. Did you have a fight with the Grand Duke? The old butler's face was full of concern. Of course, Irina couldn't tell him the truth. She said she was just suffering from insomnia. Grilly handed her a letter sent from the Empire. It was sent by the Holy Knight, Koi. But when she opened it, the contents instantly shocked her. Koi asked, do you know the secret of this world? Could it be that the female lead is also a transmigrator? Because of her marriage to the Grand Duke, the temple should have already come to the Grand Duke's mansion to perform the divine blessing and baptism on them. But because the Grand Duke has been preventing the temple people from entering the city, this matter has been delayed. Irina knew this was the problem. The female lead, Koi, currently works for the temple. If the temple people can't come in, she won't be able to see Koi. Meanwhile, in the maid's office, Luther's assistant told him that the Grand Duchess and the Grand Duke have been acting strangely these past 2 days. The Grand Duchess has been deliberately avoiding the Grand Duke. It feels like they've had a fight. Lodis immediately trembled, already feeling guilty towards Irina. He sided with his sister-in-law without a second thought. It must be my brother bullying her. The Grand Duchess's health isn't good to begin with. My brother's going too far. Saying this, Lodis prepared to go find Luther and settle the score. But suddenly there was a knock on the door. Irina poked her head in hesitantly. Excuse me for interrupting, maid. Could I have a word with you? The station maid quickly left. After the maid left, Irina took out the gold coins her Vin had given her and handed them directly to Lodi's. When he opened it, the glittering light almost blinded him. Irina told him, "I heard that the maid spent a lot of money building the wall. As a member of the Grand Duke's household, I also want to contribute my small part. So, maid, please accept this. Don't be polite with me." Irina's innocent and sincere appearance instantly moved Lodi's deeply. My sister-in-law. Oh, my sister-in-law. You're as beautiful as an angel. I'm so excited. Maybe I should take a driving test to calm down. He put the gold coins away. Seeing this, Irina stated her purpose. "Could I trouble you with something? I want to invite a holy knight to the north, but the Grand Duke won't allow anyone from the temple to enter." Lodi's felt this was a bit tricky. His authority only extended to the Grand Duke's mansion. Matters concerning the territory were all decided by his brother. Seeing Irina's slightly distressed expression, he now felt awkward whenever he saw Luther. But to avoid further troubling Lodi's, Irina decided to ask Luther herself. Unexpectedly, this moved Lodi's even more. The Grand Duchess is truly such an understanding and kind person. How can my brother argue with such a kind person? Brother, you really deserve to die. Meanwhile, in Luther's office, his assistant seemed even more anxious about the situation. Faced with his subordinate's questioning, Luther didn't know how to explain. He simply admitted it was all his fault and that he had lied to Irina, making her angry. He was also feeling down and wanted to apologize to Irina, but he was afraid she would be disgusted with him. His assistant, however, thought it was a trivial matter. "Your Highness, why not try using your charm? Although you're married, you haven't really connected emotionally." Before he could finish, Luther slammed his fist on the desk. "You brat, do you want to die? Giving me such a ridiculous idea." Unexpectedly, the assistant's face lit up. "Really, Your Highness? If you want to earn the Grand Duchess's forgiveness, you must first win her heart. Leave this to me. I'll plan a romantic date for the two of you." Early the next morning, the assistant found Irina. "Madam, are you free now? The Grand Duke wishes to see you." Irina also felt she shouldn't keep avoiding him. Even if it was awkward, she had to face it. She followed the assistant to an unfamiliar place. Unbeknownst to her, she had fallen into a carefully prepared trap. "We've arrived, madam. His Highness is waiting for you inside." Looking at the unfamiliar place, the assistant opened the door. With just one glance, Irina was stunned. The northern climate wasn't conducive to flowers blooming and bearing fruit. She hadn't expected such a large garden here. The assistant told her His Highness maintains all of this with his magic. Suddenly, a purple flower caught her eye. She stared at it for a long time. "Do you like it, Grand Duchess? This is His Highness's most cherished flower." Memories flooded back. It was the flower Dada had picked when he proposed to her. Has he been keeping it alive all this time? Suddenly, a voice came from nearby. A beautifully wrapped bouquet of flowers appeared before her eyes. Luther stood quietly opposite Irina, his voice filled with resolve. "Madam, do you remember this flower? I want to give it to you again, just like back then." The straightforward confession was simple and unadorned. Irina tilted her head slightly, staring blankly at Luther's slightly flushed cheeks. His blue eyes, the scar under his eye, and the way he looked at her with such intensity. She was overcome with self-reproach. Why hadn't she realized it sooner? That long familiar feeling. The Grand Duke had been waiting for her all along. Holding the flowers in her hands, she blinked shyly. Luther told her, "Madam, ask me anything you want. I promise I won't deceive you again." Irina was truly curious. "Your Highness, is your true form human or a slime?" "To be honest, I don't remember. My family has demon blood, but I'm the only one who can truly transform into a monster. Like when I first met you, I didn't have human consciousness or memories. And transforming into a slime, most of the time, it happens without warning. That's why I haven't been able to tell you." Irina was puzzled. She clearly remembered there being no mention of the male lead transforming into a slime in the original story. Seeing her expression, Luther sadly turned his head away. He thought Irina must be disappointed. She liked strong, handsome men, and he was just a monster who could turn into a slime at any moment. Irina snapped back to reality. All right, you're playing hard to get. It seems you're truly adorably naive." She slowly approached Luther. "How could I be disappointed? I'm just surprised. And, of course, a little embarrassed. No matter what you are, you're my most precious partner." Hearing Irina's reply, Luther's worried heart finally relaxed. Some love doesn't need the words, "I love you," to be spoken. He told Irina he had kept the silent promise he made back then. He gently took her hand and placed it on his cheek. "Remember this scar? I got it fighting a nightmare. I said I would protect you. That belief made me invincible on the battlefield. Now I have the power to fulfill that promise." Irina, I will always protect you. Then she suddenly turned into a domineering CEO.So. Irina, I order you. From now on, you'll stay with me forever. No more hiding from me, understand? Luther moved closer and closer. Now, it was Irina's turn to be shied. Didn't Master tell me to be a thick-skinned slime? So, starting tonight, we can't sleep in separate rooms. Irina immediately stood at attention, blushing. Night fell quickly. The Grand Duke seemed to become very proactive. Shouldn't my wife give me a good night kiss? Irina felt strange, staring blankly at him, speechless. This guy's skin really has gotten thicker. I shouldn't have said that back then. Having no choice, she stood on tiptoe, cupped Luther's face, and gently kissed him. She was blushing intensely in Omar's strange requests. But Luther's large hand had already reached out. Before Irina could finish speaking, he kissed her. Irina's heart was racing. What do I do? I'm so nervous. I should just take a driving test. No driving test tonight, my dear. Good night, my wife. Then the moon came out, its light bathing the entire Grand Duchy. Meanwhile, on the other side of the empire, a man in inconspicuous clothing seemed to be anxiously waiting for something. The secret signal from behind him indicated it was Kelvin. He took out the fake magic mirror shard. The task Irina had entrusted to him was already halfway done. The man seemed to doubt the authenticity of the item, but Kelvin, using his reputation as the president of the Information Guild, vouched for it. This convinced the man completely. Desire swelled within him. With this, the Duke will surely acknowledge me. Kelvin smiled wickedly. Just you wait. Irina won't do anything for you anymore. Inside the Sodi dukedom, the Duke glared coldly at his subordinate. It's been many days. Have you still not found the great demon spell? The subordinate pleaded, hoping Sodi would spare his life. But the Duke, blinded by his ambition for the throne, had only a morbid lust for killing in his eyes. He calmly drew his sword and, ignoring his subordinate's pleas, sent him to meet his maker. So disappointing. A bunch of useless fools. The other subordinates were so terrified they dared not even breathe. The man in the middle felt it was his time to prove himself. He presented the magic mirror shard he'd bought from Kelvin. Your Grace, I spent a great deal of effort to obtain this. With this, you can summon a demon. The madness in Sodi's eyes intensified. Good, good, good. When I ascend to the throne, you will be my founding minister. Then, another subordinate reported on Irina. Sodi was puzzled. That girl hasn't come for the antidote. She should be writhing in agony from the Kalen flower by now. How strange. But it doesn't matter now. Once I summon the demon, dealing with Luther won't be a problem. And now, I'll finally have time to deal with you, little one. He turned his head coldly, looking at the bound Vavin. He intended to crush Vavin's spirit and turn him into an obedient dog. Hearing his father speak of him and his sister as mere insects, Vavin roared in fury. He demanded to know if the man had ever considered them as children. But Sodi only responded with disdain that why foolish son. Forget children. I've never considered you human to begin with. You and Irina are nothing but tools I can discard at will. Nothing more. Don't you understand? So, it's time for you to serve your final purpose. He extended his hand, pressing it against Vavin's face. Under the influence of that terrifying spiritual magic, Vavin fell into a deep sleep. Elsewhere, Irina woke up early to find the Grand Duke gone. Thinking of last night's kiss, she still felt shy. A sound came from the distance. Luther was sparring with knights. It was the first time she'd seen him with a sword. The Grand Duke was truly handsome. But a strange image flashed through Irina's mind. She remembered Dada from the time they fought the nightmare. He seemed to have gotten stronger and a little cuter. It was then that Luther noticed her. Irina stood out in the crowd. The knight sparring with Luther saw his opportunity. Unable to win head-on, a sneak attack will definitely work. But Luther's reaction was even faster, his gaze incredibly sharp. With a backhand blow, he sent his sparring partner flying. Irina was shocked by the man's speed. Before she could recover, Luther started unbuttoning his shirt, perhaps because he was sweating from training, or perhaps he was intentionally showing off his physique to Irina. As expected, Irina blushed instantly. Damn, a slime with an 8-pack. The man pretended to just notice Irina running towards him. Good morning, my lady. His affectionate expression made Irina forget her purpose. She turned her head away, her ears red. The man smiled charmingly. This girl is quite cute when she's shy. Seeing that she seemed to have something to say, he prepared to move to a different location to talk. His subordinates all wore surprised expressions. So this was what His Highness the Grand Duke looked like when caught in the throes of love. Irina told him she wanted to invite a holy knight to the north. But I heard you don't allow people from the temple to enter. I haven't even been able to complete the baptism ritual required of nobles. Luther seemed a bit flustered. He had intended to keep it from her, but His Highness was all about honesty. He admitted, I don't want to see that woman named Koi, because the person I like is you. So I don't want to have anything to do with anyone related to the novel's male lead. His sincerity touched Irina somewhat. She was also a bit speechless. This guy was a little too straightforward. She explained that it was necessary to allow people from the temple to enter, especially since her baptismal blessing was incomplete. More importantly, Koi sent me a message. I suspect she knows about the aid, so I hope you'll let me meet with her. But Luther wasn't concerned about that. He only wanted to give Irina the best sense of security. Even if I meet with the female lead, you don't mind? His slightly dejected expression made Irina feel very guilty, but she couldn't lie to herself. Although she had confirmed the Grand Duke's feelings for her, and she had feelings for him too, because he was her former friend, Dada, Irina's mind was a mess. At least for now, she hadn't accepted that she truly liked him or if she still liked Dada. She didn't want to hurt him with her ambiguous feelings. Unexpectedly, the man only hesitated for 2.5 seconds before approaching Irina and gently taking her hand. That I understand your concerns. Don't worry, Irina. I won't force you. I promise you, I will never fall in love with the female lead. I will always be by your side, waiting for you, protecting you, until the day you're certain of your feelings. That night, recalling the Grand Duke's promise, Irina's heart raced. Who would have thought? The fierce and ruthless Grand Duke was like this in private. Seeing the man transformed into a slime, Irina felt a strange disconnect. The handsome and romantic human form, and the innocent and adorable pet form. Thank you, Dada, for letting me meet with Koi. Dada patted his chest earnestly. Anything you want to do, Irina, I will support you unconditionally. But you must remember, whether I'm the Grand Duke or Dada, the person I love will only ever be you. But Irina noticed a critical issue. It seemed that recently, the intervals between the Grand Duke transforming into Dada were getting shorter. Irina suddenly wondered if it was because she had stolen his divine power. Seeing her worry, Dada reassured her, it's fine. Really, don't worry about me. It hurts me to see you sad. Irina stared at him blankly. Whether he was the Grand Duke or Dada, he truly always put her first. So she had to find a way to use divine power quickly. Perhaps it could save the Grand Duke. The next morning, thousands of pages of documents were dumped in front of her. Lodis declared, Sister-in-law, your health is almost fully recovered now. It's time you learned how to manage the Grand Duke's affairs. Irina wanted to refuse outright. I don't want to work. But Lodis wouldn't hear it. Sister-in-law, this is for your own good. You must learn these things. Establish yourself so the Grand Duke doesn't. Suddenly, Luther walked in.my lady. Your brother is here to see you. He's waiting in the living room. Vavin sat on the sofa, a gloomy expression on his face. His eyes were completely vacant, like an emotionless robot. Irina was a little puzzled. Why had her brother suddenly come to find her? Probably because he missed you. After all, your brother is quite good to you, madam. His Highness the Grand Duke is also very fond of you. Of course. Isn't it natural for my brother to dote on his sister? Besides, my parents passed away a long time ago, so I have to protect Vavin. I can't let him be bullied. Irina's heart suddenly warmed. This brother, who doted on her so much, had actually argued fiercely with her because of a maid. Click, 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 click. Meeting you is truly the luckiest thing that's ever happened to me. He rarely took the initiative to hold Luther's hand. Thank you, Your Highness. It's so good to have you. His sudden initiative made Vavin flustered. What should I do? I'm so shy. Maybe I should take a driving test to calm down. He gently took Irina's hand and kissed it like a gentleman. As long as Madam is happy, I'm willing to do anything. The air seemed to freeze. Irina's heart beat faster and faster. This guy is still so romantic. Then they went to the living room. But when she saw Vavin, she realized something was very wrong. Was her brother too tired? His eyes were full of exhaustion. Irina had a bad feeling. She worriedly asked him about it. But just as Irina got closer, Vavin seemed to be muttering something. He quickly pulled out a dagger and lunged straight at Irina. She instinctively raised her hand to block. When she opened her eyes, Luther was already standing in front of her. A feeling of safety washed over her in that moment. Vavin was kicked to the ground. But Luther's hand was injured. He told Irina not to worry. Madam, please go out first. Leave this to me. One was her husband, the other her brother. How could Irina obediently leave? Suddenly, Vavin stood up again. He walked towards them unsteadily. Vavin's eyes were completely unfocused. Irina knew that Vavin must have been controlled by Soadi. This was going to be difficult. Suddenly, a dazzling golden light appeared. After only 2.5 seconds, Vavin's eyes returned to normal. He looked at Irina guiltily, and then collapsed to the ground, unconscious. Irina was extremely worried. She was terrified that something would happen to her brother. Then, an unfamiliar voice came from behind her. Don't worry, he's all right now. I've suppressed the demonic curse. He's just temporarily unconscious. It seems I arrived just in time. It was Koi, the original female lead. Irina felt like he was an angel, but Luther didn't give him a pleasant look. The butler said you were coming by bus. It would take at least 2 days. I didn't expect you to take a plane. Koi was a bit sarcastic. How disappointing. I thought you two would want to see me sooner. The way they confronted each other made Irina feel very strange. Then they settled Vavin down. After Koi's treatment, he found a situation difficult. The demonic energy within him is too strong, and his mind has been constantly controlled. The current situation is not optimistic. It will require long-term treatment for him to have any chance of recovery. It's also thanks to this Qing Jin stone. Otherwise, he wouldn't have lasted this long. Irina's heart ached. It turned out her brother had been enduring so much pain. If only I had noticed sooner. If only I had used my divine power earlier, maybe I could have spared my brother from this harm. Because of this, Koi stayed at the Grand Duke's mansion. After all, he was currently the only one who could treat Vavin. Irina expressed her sincere gratitude to him. Koi also noticed that there seemed to be something special about Irina. Suddenly, she saw Luther's injured hand. She prepared to heal him, but Luther refused. Irina suddenly felt a pang in her heart. It felt very much like a scene where the second lead helps the main characters. But after all, the Grand Duke's health was the most important. With Irina's persuasion, Luther finally agreed to let Koi treat him. Holy power surged. The scene seemed so fateful. Irina suddenly felt like an outsider. A feeling of dejection finally washed over her. Unhappy, very unhappy. Why was she unhappy? Even though Luther only responded politely, seeing the two of them standing together made Irina feel like a third wheel. She turned her head away sadly. She didn't even realize she was clueless about love. Lost in thought, she didn't even notice Luther approaching. Startled, Irina felt embarrassed and quickly made an excuse to run away. She kept her head down, not daring to look straight ahead in the hallway, just like she didn't dare look directly at Luther's feelings. Darn it, why am I so flustered? Isn't the male and female lead getting together what I've always been hoping for? What am I so upset about? Suddenly, her hand was tightly grasped. Luther had also run after her, his worried expression undeniable. Madam, you look unwell. Did you hurt yourself just now? Seeing the man's concern reflected in his eyes, Irina finally couldn't hold back her tears. She had decided to be brave this time, but Luther was completely thrown off guard. He was at a loss. Madam, don't cry. What's wrong? Irina laughed. I'm not crying because I'm hurt. This made the man even more distressed. He gently wiped away her tears. Your Grace, I think I'm really in love with you. Maybe it's because of the original story. I was worried you'd fall in love with the female lead because of the protagonist halo. Or maybe it's my own confusion that made me unsure how to face you. But at this moment, I finally understand. It turns out it was all because I wasn't brave enough. It was all my fault for not daring to face my feelings, always wanting to escape. Now I know, I'm not in love with the Grand Duke from the original story, but with you, the one standing beside me, the real you right here and now. She gently moved closer to Luther. The man simply watched her quietly. For me, Irina, you are my only one. The atmosphere had reached its peak, and the two finally kissed. A kiss born of true feelings can overcome any obstacle. A certain someone just watched with a speechless expression. Great. The cannon fodder character ended up with the male lead. This transmigration thing is really working out for you. What the heck am I supposed to do now? Maybe I should go take a driving test to calm down.